Hey, it's Giga with Aim Shoot Develop, and today we're talking about this camera, a fully 3D printed Big Shot alternative. If you see my previous video, you know I talked about this camera, an Instax wide converted Polaroid Big Shot, and here is an original untouched Polaroid Big Shot. But today I'm talking about why this is a great option and why you should check these out. If you're unfamiliar with my page, I talk about a lot of cool and obscure cameras and a lot of cool information. So if you want to learn more about stuff like this, make sure to subscribe. All right, let's get into the video. So this camera is made by maxsprkplg, aka Mario, and it's fully 3D printed. It has a lot of cool features that the original doesn't have, and I'm gonna get into kind of how it works and what it's for. I'm gonna break down the pros and the cons of this camera compared to the other alternatives, and kind of just get into it. So yeah, the camera itself has had a few iterations, and this one admittedly is a bit earlier than some of the more recent ones. So some of the core things are still there. This camera has a 210mm lens. It's for a large format camera, and the cool thing, all the components on how to make the lens work are all up front. Shutter speed, aperture, flash, yeah, pretty much everything is right here up front. So stays true to the Polaroid Big Shot where the lens and everything is fully mechanical. The camera itself is held by these really powerful magnets. The magnets are sturdy enough not to mess with anything. I mean, they literally will pull down. If you get close enough, they'll just... And these seams here are modular. So if you push up like this and then pull away, these magnets actually want to pull it closer. But here's the camera. And it can get broken down to multiple pieces. That includes the lens element as well. This could be safely kept in another bag. The viewfinder and how to focus is real simple. You pull this out and this thing will hold everything, no problem. And you just basically slot it out and it comes off. This will be your rangefinder here. Basically, you push and pull your body, use your legs as bellows to get the distance, how the originals were back in the day. There is a tripod socket, so you can keep this camera down, which was not found in the originals. So you can unslot it like this and then pull out. Sorry, these magnets want to keep this thing on. It's not, there you go. You can see it literally wants to put it back on. It wants to stay intact. And so here you go. These components are the big wide, all broken down. And you can see that you can just, if you were to visualize it really quickly, Lego put it on. See, like, this is what it'd be. As somebody who's had to travel with my converted Big Shot as of recently, I've had to basically take this as a carry-on because I am not comfortable with any carrier, any whatever, comfortably taking this camera. It has such an obscure shape. Even trying to find bags for it is really tough. And so I just said, I'm gonna take this as a carry-on. And it became such an inconvenience knowing that any part of this, as brittle as it is, could pretty much break. I've seen these break, I've seen lens elements. All these housings are, decently thick, but really thin. So I've always had to take it as a carry-on. And this solves a lot of the problem, just being modular and, being able to take things off. The back itself is actually really good. It is the Lomo graph lock back made for 4x5 cameras, I guess large format cameras as well. Taking a photo is real simple. You just take out the dark slide, and this is why you can keep it modular, is due to the dark slide. You can pretty much swap backs midway with either this one. There is also this Polaroid back, that if you wanted to shoot Polaroid with this camera, the distance and everything will also be proper, and swapping them out is just about the same as any other back that's included. There also is a 4x5 back that's also there, but for the time being and kind of for this video, I wanted to show more Big Shot stuff. Like everything here, I think a lot of the systems are really well thought out. This does allow you to swap batteries if you go here and basically just start going lower. It does allow you to swap batteries real easily and then just go about putting it back on. The interlocking system basically uses this rail here right up top, this little thing here, this little crevice. And the interlocking system itself is really clever. Even now, with only just these rails and not this extra protection, I feel very confident in the back and in the camera. The Limo graph lock back is just as, you know, a regular Instax back. You take off the back, you take a photo, and then once you want to reject the photo, you hit the photo eject button. It's really simple. Some of the cool things is my camera does not have an exposure counter. It kind of just went by the wayside. It was supposed to be on this LCD display, and it's non-existent. With the original stuff, there was numbers on the tab, so you can see that this is the 10th photo. And with this one, the thing is mechanical and kind of separate to the rest of the camera. So, yeah, you can pretty much just do as you please with this thing and take a photo, let it properly expose, and you know how many are left. The camera assembles really quickly. I basically just put it back in about 30 seconds and we're back to normal. It stays true to the original system. Oh, let me just lock this in. It stays true to the original system of use your left hand to compose, your right eye to compose, and move with your legs. And on the right is how you take the photo. So, you know, you just do a little shutter and that's it, and you took a photo. And why I'm making this video is that Polaroid Big Shots as of right now have gotten wildly popular. Obviously I've had mine for a few months. I've had this one for about 8 or 9 months. And this is one that I've always had as a backup, and it's not in the best shape. You can see here, the little thing's broken off, the back's kind of rough, and it looks like it just kind of got pieced together, kind of taped together right here on the edge. And the reason I haven't upgraded is because these have gotten so expensive that trying to find one at a reasonable price is almost non-existent. There was a point in time where these were so non-desirable that I bought this one for I think 40, and I even, as the price started going really high on this one, I also bought it for 40, knowing that I probably wouldn't see another one at this price point for a long while. The thing with these cameras is that they are accessible, they're modular, and there's only 2 components that you basically need to buy for yourself, and that's the lens and the back. The back is still made by Lomography. They are really accessible. They're making tons of them, and this isn't really an issue. The lens itself, the cool thing is that you just need a 210 millimeter camera lens. So here's one here. It's a f6.8. Obviously they have like the more shallower aperture, but admittedly a lot of the time at 800 ISO, you're pretty much shooting like f16, f22, and it gets a proper shot. Like, you'll be stunned with the image quality of this lens. Obviously it's for large format and made for massive negatives, but the image quality outshines the original plastic lenses on the original Big Shot. This is just a real simple, like, I think 210, 220 millimeter lens, but it's literally just simple. This one has way more capabilities creatively. I'm gonna put some photos here that I've done some light photography stuff where I just left the shutter open, took some photos with just a flashlight, and then overlaid those light photos with an image of a friend using the flash. If you've been following this series on the Polaroid Big Shot, you know that flash for these cameras is super hard to find, and finding something that works. Also, again, really expensive. The film for this, the FP100C, has skyrocketed in price. It used to be about $100 a pack. Now it's $200 a pack. And these magic cubes here have gotten wildly expensive again, just because of the high demand of the cameras. Here are some different magic cubes that I've had that I pretty much keep as a backup. I did make another video about an alternative that's available that you can buy off the shelf. I'm gonna do eventually a follow-up, or you can just see here that they have a link, and I'll put a link to another product for the Polaroid Big Shot if you're interested in that for the flashes. But these aren't your straightforward flashes. To sum up that video, you need to have something that has a magic cube port that basically burns up, and there is a delay internally on these cameras, so it's like 25 milliseconds that basically needs to get to full brightness. This thing needs to basically like do a little mini explosion, get to full brightness, and then the shutter opens. But with this being a more modern lens, basically more modular system, right here is an X-Sync port, and you can mount it up top. They have additional brackets to put on the side. You can mount it pretty much anywhere that you'd like. You can even take this piece off and mount it directly, which is what I did since I really didn't need a diffuser. And you don't have to worry about any of that. The flash problem is, I think, a decent amount of heartache for a lot of photographers, plus the film. You can use any flash. You could use pretty much anything. If you want to use something small, like I usually use a Vivitar 252, real common flash, about $20. And these flash alternatives, these cubes are getting to the point where they're like a few dollars each cube, and they're single use. So once you're done with them, you're pretty much done with them. So the way you focus is exactly the same, where if you go forward or back, you can see that the image is starting to get closer the further I get back. It's the exact same way as the Polaroid Big Shot, where it just has two images that are overlaid over each other. And once they're, let me get a little further back, you can see that about here is where the image is perfectly in focus. I think a lot of people probably are saying, well, if it's so cool, why haven't I seen this, or why haven't I, heard about this? And if I'm being completely honest, I genuinely think it's due to just getting the name out there, getting the information out there. I think if you're not inside of the instant film community circles, this information is very rarely seen outside of it, because you'd have to know about large format photography here with the lens. You'll have to know about the Lomo graph lock back, which is an instant photography thing, and you have to know some of the 3D printing thing. And Mario has tried his best to get the information out there. He does classes. I saw him at PolaCon 2025 in New York. I traveled all the way out there, and he's still talking about the accessibility, printing one for yourself, buying the license, making these to sell as viable products. He's doing his best to keep fine-tuning the camera, pushing for community, giving people the tools to make them themselves, feel empowered to make their own cameras, and have fun with just the way that this process is. There are some things and differences image-wise that you'll notice in the cameras. You can shoot it at f6.8 and give you that really shallow depth of field. That's pretty cool. It's pretty like an artisan look, or like a professional look on instant film, that these things pretty much capture everything within that focal distance. So if it's at that spot, that the images, everything's sharp, but only at those distances. This one, you start to get a little bit more creative. Like I said, it did light photography. You can do triple exposures. Not to say you can't with this. It's just with this specifically, you have a lot more creative control with the settings. So you can shoot one super fast, you can shoot it super slow, do a long exposure, and stack those images. And while this one, unless there's light or really bright light, or you use the flash multiple times, getting double exposures is a little bit trickier. I would say that one of the downsides, but also its convenience, is that it is a bit heavier than these cameras. The large format lens is true glass and really quality made, while all of this is just plastic. And you've seen in this one here on the right that the plastic does brittle over time. So if you make it too thin, it starts to crack. While this one's really properly built, and I'm not emphasizing enough that the build quality is really good for, not to say for a 3D printed product, but just for a product in general. This thing can take a beating, and it being modular, if something breaks, you can just print another one of the pieces that broke and just continue on your journey. But this camera, because of its high quality elements, is about double the weight of my Instax wide converted one here. The modularity, which help yields proper fit, and you don't have to worry about light leaks, kind of does, play into that. So it's like, do you want modularity? Do you want this thing to work and piece it together as you wish? Or do you want a thin camera that's really light but will snap on you on a moment's notice? And so the modularity is the takeaway for it being a decent size or a decent weight. But if you use this in a studio setting or in a party setting, just set up a little station. And since it has a tripod socket here, you can just put it on a tripod and just basically shoot away and take photos all night and not really have to worry about anything. The original one did not have a tripod. It was meant to be handheld, which I guess makes sense, but being able to design your own cameras and fine tune it to how you see fit makes you make cool creative decisions like this. Like I was saying previously, Mario has been pushing the envelope with not just these cameras. He has a bunch of ideas. He comes from the design space. He is using some of this technology and the things we've learned to make like panoramic images. There's a camera called the Nano Pano that I thought was really cool. And he's even made Polaroid backs for the RB67, or I've even seen a prototype for a Polaroid Go film back, which I thought was really interesting. But to me, being in this space and being so close to the Polaroid Big Shot stuff, I think I'd be doing a disservice by not putting this in the conversation. It was in my previous video, but now that I have it here in person, I could vouch for its quality. I've known of this camera for a few years. I've seen it at a few Policons ago, and I'll put a picture of me holding it up, and I think I did that in the previous video as well. But there's, as of right now, a lot of people who want to get into big shots. They want to get that shot image. They want it to look really cool. But these things have become basically so expensive that unless you already know exactly what you're doing or have basically a clientele that dictates this price point, they've basically gotten so expensive. There's almost no way for the casual consumer. There is a master list of people who make these, and I'll put it on so you can buy one specific to your region. There are like trusted sellers that Mario can vouch for the quality that's being produced, that is basically made to say, okay, yeah, that's up to spec with what I think is right. He does allow for experimentation, so a lot of these creators are also pushing the envelope forward and making their own iterations of the camera with their own spins on it. That's making the camera go a lot further than just Mario being one person. I like this camera because it solves a lot of the problems with these cameras, the hoops you have to jump, the prices, the film, the pretty much everything. This solves pretty much all of the problems of those previous cameras with the lens element, the flash, the film being Instax wide rather than peel apart film, and it being accessible to where if you wanted to buy one of these bodies, the lens and the back, you can pretty much have it going with about, a couple purchases, or if you buy a complete kit from somebody, it's not far-fetched at all. That's pretty much it for this video. If you found this interesting, make sure to subscribe. I talk about Polaroid Big Shot stuff. I talk about really cool cameras that don't really get talked about. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Keep shooting film. Take care. Peace.